Vicky Marie, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Oh, another hot inferno in Spain. 28 degrees at the moment, but it's only 11:34 in the morning. Got my red nail varnish on today, matching with my red banner. What have I got? I've got a little bit of waffle to tell you about today. Oh, get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Ooh, last night, number one son got home from work. Sorry, just let me turn that down. Yeah, he came home from work. Then he went back out again. Then I went to bed. And Tia, our lovely German Shepherd, let's have a look at Tia. You've all met Tia, haven't you? You've heard her barking, if nothing else. This is Tia, who is actually my son's German Shepherd, but obviously lives with both of us, along with my two little dogs. So, number one son, he came home from work, he went back out again. And then I went to bed, and while I'd gone to bed, he came back in and then went back out again. I didn't know that. I was oblivious to that. Anyway, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I hear this commotion outside. You know what it can be like here, with bangers going off and lots of noise. Anyway, people were screaming outside. There were big bangs. It really did sound like a gunshots. And along with the screams, and I'm like there thinking, should I be ringing the police? But I quite often think that. And then, of course, turns out it's a fiesta going on or bangers going off. Anyway, it went on for quite a long time. And I was thinking, well, somebody will ring the police if it really is something serious. Then so I sort of drifted off to sleep. And then about an hour after that, my dogs started barking. My two little dogs, and I could hear Tia, the German Shepherd, or Big Rocky she's known as well, barking. And I'm thinking, that's funny she's barking, because she rarely barks when my son is in. She barks when he's out. I think it's like she's trying to protect me. I don't know what it is. And I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm thinking, she's opened the door. So he's obviously come in, got something, maybe got some money, got changed, whatever he did, gone back out again, and she's just opened the door like she does. Just literally, I've seen her do it. She just gets the handle, pulls it down, just like a monkey. And she's stood there in the doorway downstairs, barking at everybody going past. And it was just good luck that the gate was closed, because I am constantly telling number one son, remember to close the gate, because otherwise the dogs, if they do manage to get out the front door, they can be off down the street running around the town, And so I had to leap up out of bed at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, come downstairs, the door's wide open. She stood in the doorway, barking at the world. Luckily, it was very early, so there weren't many people about. So whoever had been about earlier, shouting and making bangs and everything, that's probably what disturbed her. Or maybe it was when my son came in and went back out again, she thought, I'm going out as well. I don't know what it was, but there she was, just stood in the doorway having a little bark or a big bark. But luckily, because it was early in the morning, because then later on, about 7-8 o'clock, all the dog walkers start going past with their dogs. That would have been dangerous, especially if Coco, the Chihuahua, would have been walking past. I mean, I'm laughing about it now because it's like the relief, because that really was a dangerous situation. Anyway, number one son has finally come home at about 10:30 this morning. God knows where he was. So he's took her into his room now. So it's safe. Oh, God, you just can't. She can escape from anywhere. If anybody wants to know the story of Princess Tia when she escaped really did escape, and we thought we'd lost her. I wrote a little short storybook about it, and it's on Amazon. See if I can find it to show you. Now, I think it's available just in English. But it's also available as like a little bilingual book. There it is. Let me show it you. Princess Tia's Great Adventure. So, Princess Tia's Great Adventure, La Gran Aventura de la Princesa Tia. So it's a dual language storybook for adults and children, and that's so when, look, she looks like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth when she was a puppy. She's so naughty, but she's so good at escaping. And she did escape. She's spoiled rotten. One day she gets bored and decides to escape for an adventure. And honestly, it was traumatic, as you can imagine. So it was like talk about, it was the power of Facebook that helped find her, helped me find her and find it. She'd been taken to a dog refuge. But, oh God, it's a big, long story. But it was very, very scary because we really thought we'd lost her because she was only a puppy, really. She was about 9 months old and she hadn't been chipped yet. We hadn't got her chipped. She is chipped now. So if it ever happened again, God forbid, she would get, brought back to us. But at that time she had no chip. So, I would say, obviously, to everyone, get your dogs and cats chipped because, they do go missing sometimes. They do escape, don't they? So, where am I? Yeah, Mia. Getting all mixed up with what I've got too many windows open, as usual. Too many windows open. So anyway, that was my evening. Yes, get a dog, they said. It would be fun, they said. Oh, God. That just could have, if that gate would have been open, she would have been, I don't know what she would have done. Apart from the fact she could have got lost or got run over, bless her. But she good job that Chihuahua wasn't going past. She could probably open that gate if she really put her mind to it. She can open anything or jump over the wall. She jumped over into the neighbours once over a wall. The height of it, my God. Up on the sunroof, there's a wall, so you can't get onto the neighbour's roof terrace. It's a massive wall. Anyway, she got over it. She got over it once. She's been over there when she couldn't get to us. I don't know. The thing is, you can't leave her on the roof. Like, you'd think it'd be safe up there to leave her. She won't be able to get off it. But she can jump anything. So, you've always got to be careful. She's literally locked in somewhere. Anyway, so I'd like to say my thank yous. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here with me on a Friday morning. It is Friday, isn't it? Yeah, I've lost track of days because I'm not in much of a routine at the moment because I haven't got many classes at the moment. With it being summer, always goes quiet as far as Spanish classes are concerned. So yeah, that means that half the time I don't even know what day it is, but never mind. So yeah, and a special thank you, of course, to my members. And I've got a little video about why should you become a member. This is why you should become a member. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, maybe you're thinking of becoming a member. So, why should you become a member? Now, apart from the fact it supports my channel, at the end of the day, the members are the mainstay of my channel and make a big difference to keeping this channel going. The memberships help to pay towards streaming costs, updating equipment, going on location, all those things. Because unfortunately, YouTube do not pay small YouTubers like me a massive amount of money, but it just keeps it going. And it's also a sign to me that people appreciate me, which is a really nice feeling. Also, though, apart from that, every Thursday we have a special members live. Our membership community is special. We are a family. We really are a family. My community in general is like a family, but especially the memberships. So if you want to join in the Thursday membership lives and really feel a part of my community, please become a member. The other thing, of course, is you get to use the members emojis, which I try and change every now and again, especially if we're covering a certain case in a deep way, like we were with the Erin Patterson mushroom murder trials. We had special emojis to use for that. So, yeah. And also, there are special bonuses every now and again at Christmas and special occasions, some things that are offered only to my members, and videos that go out only to my members as well, messages, etc. Some personal things sometimes that I share with my members. So thank you so much for even considering it. Thank you for watching. You don't have to become a member to support my channel. It's just that little step further. If you're thinking about it, I hope that you will join us, join the family on a Thursday live as a member. So thank you. I'll see you really soon. And of course, as always, may your God go with you. It's me. Okay, so yeah, little special message just to try and encourage people to become members, but special thank you to those of you who are already members, the elite chatterata. Thank you to people who buy me Ko-Fis. Thank you for the super stickers. Thank you for any way that you support my channel. It's all appreciated more than you know. Okay, let's take off the banner now. I know I'm doing a little bit of waffling. You know, I know some of you like the waffling, some of you don't. If you don't like the waffling, I will be splitting this video later into the 3 different things that I'm going to talk about and just releasing the videos on their own with no waffle. So I always try and keep everybody happy. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, there's a little update, not much of one, but a little update on Lily and Jack Sullivan over there in Nova Scotia in Canada. A little update on the Idaho 4 and the absolute freak that is Bryan Kohberger, the absolute psycho that he is. And then a little bit of good news at the end about the Hannah Maguire murder trial, where her ex-partner, who originally was saying he did kill her, but it was by accident, and he thought he'd cover it up by putting her in a car, setting her on fire, and pretending that she'd committed, that she'd deleted herself. He has dramatically changed his plea to guilty. So that's good news. That's good news for the family. You know, that is good news for everybody, really, to be honest. It doesn't bring Hannah back, but at least he's admitting responsibility, and it saves a whole load of pain and anguish for the family. So that's good. I mean, he won't have done it for them. He'll have done it for himself. Obviously, he probably realises that the evidence has piled up. But anyway, he's done it, and it's good because it'll be good for the family. So we're going to talk about that as well. So first of all, hi lovely lurkers, hi loathsome lurkers, but my lovely lurkers, you get a kiss. Hi to replay crew, thank you for watching. And now let's see who's been chatting. Have a look. You brave people that are brave enough to come into the chat. Hi, Julie. Oh, I'm only just surviving, Julie. I still haven't been to the pool. Must go to the pool. Next week, I'm definitely going to the pool. Happy Friday to you, Julie. Hope you are surviving as well. Hi, David. Hi, sheep farming. Hi, Daniel. Happy Friday. Hi, Lily. Lily Paulie. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Joanne. There you go. Lily likes the waffle, so that's good. Yeah, some people do and some people don't. Well, you know what they say, you can't please all the people all the time, can you? So I try my best, but I can't. But hi, Joanne. It's good to see you. Did you get your notification? I know sometimes Joanne doesn't get a notification, but it's good to see you here, Joanne. So we're going to start off. Good, I'm glad you found it. We're going to start off talking about Lily and Jack Sullivan. So let's put their picture up. Bless them. So these two little ones, you know, the more I look into these, how many children just go missing without a trace? You know, like Lily and Jack, I mean, you know, they were at home, in their home in Nova Scotia in Canada, playing in the house. Apparently the parents maybe not taking a lot of notice, maybe in bed asleep, you know, feeling they're in a safe area. I mean, there's a lot of controversy about this case. Obviously a lot of people suspect the parents. It's the mum and stepdad. They also had a little baby. A lot of people suspect the parents, but people have passed, I think they've all passed lie detector tests from what I can gather. They've just disappeared. It's a very remote place where they lived, a bit of a, you know, a bit of a mess, to be honest, the house and the surrounding area. And then there was woodland. And it's thought, did they wander off into woodland? There's a road nearby. Did somebody abduct them? Are the parents implicated? You know, it's one of those mysterious cases. All that we know really is that these two little dots have disappeared off the face of the earth, completely and absolutely disappeared. And, you know, that doesn't happen. Now, there was said to be a child's boot print found, wasn't there? That's something that was said. And so, you know, there have been intensive searches. A lot of people do believe that they are around somewhere, you know, that they had an accident or they got scared, they got lost, and, you know, they are round about there somewhere, and it wasn't foul play. A lot of people think that, and then other people think it's something to do with the stepfather and the mother. You know, I don't know about that, and that's the police's job to establish that, not mine. The only thing that seemed strange to me was that the mother left the very next day to go with the baby, to go somewhere completely different. That, I think, you know, that just surprised me that after just one day of searching, she left the area. But, you know, who knows what you would do in those circumstances. So, you know, she maybe needed support. Then it's said that they're not speaking, like she's not speaking to her partner, the stepfather, but he says he's passed a lie detector test. You know, it's one of those that everybody's sort of looking at everybody else, but nobody knows anything. The police haven't named anyone as a suspect, but they haven't ruled anybody out either. You know, it's one of those cases, and the only thing that we're sure of is that these two little ones, where are they? And they've been missing quite a long time now. Anyway, something that the police have released now is that they say they have found Lily's pink blanket. And that's what we're going to look at. And that they're testing it. They're saying that they found Lily's pink blanket, which apparently she doesn't go anywhere without. I've got it somewhere. Hang on. Got it set up somewhere. Yeah, let's have a look at this. So they found it, right near the house. I mean, they haven't found it miles away. So the RCMP, so this has happened in Nova Scotia in Canada. So the RCMP give an update on the missing Nova Scotia siblings, including the discovery of a pink blanket. And they said our collective efforts will continue every day till we determine with certainty the circumstances surrounding Lily and Jack's disappearance. So here they are. Lily is the oldest sibling. I think she's 6 and Jack is 4, if I'm not wrong. And they were playing together. And it was more than 2 months ago. So it's an awful long time ago. I mean, these children will not have survived if they haven't been abducted, and hopefully if they have been abducted, they could be safe somewhere. But if they haven't been, they can't survive on their own. They're too young, aren't they? They couldn't survive for 2 months on their own, could they? So anyway, more than 2 months after 2 young siblings went missing in Nova Scotia, the RCMP say they've received thousands of videos and found a pink blanket belonging to one of the children, but the case remains unsolved. The investigative team in the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit is leading the investigation into the disappearance of Lily Sullivan and Jack Sullivan, who went missing from their rural home in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia. And actually, one sec, because I've just remembered, I'm boiling some eggs. And I've just remembered I've left them on the... I've left them boiling, so I'll be 1 sec. Don't want a fire while I'm on a live stream, do I? I'm back. Now, that would not be the first time that I'd left something to burn while I was on a live stream, because once I get talking, I forget. So let's go back to this. Yeah, once I get chatting, I forget that I've got something on the stove or whatever. So our collective efforts will continue every day until we determine with certainty the circumstances surrounding Lily and Jack's disappearance. Oh, it's a double L for Lily. I need to change that on my title. Sorry, I'm just going to title that. Change that title slightly. If I can, I don't know if I can change it once I'm in the middle of it. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not trying to change the start time. I'll change it later if I can't change it now. Oh, great, I can't get it off the thing now. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, so unfortunately, I've spelt Lily's name with only 1 L. It's actually got 2 L's. Sorry about that, but I'll change it. So, Lily 6 Yeah, Lily 6 and Jack 4 were first reported missing on the morning of May the 2nd this year by their mum and stepfather, who believed the kids disappeared while they were still asleep. The stepfather looked for them in neighbouring roads as the mum called police that morning. And since then, more than 800 tasks have been associated with this investigation. So this latest update doesn't bring any new information about where they could be or what happened to them, but gives the public an overview of what the next stage of the investigation will look like. So they said they're reviewing approximately 5,000 video files of Lansdowne Station and the surrounding areas and assessing more than 600 tips from the public. They formally interviewed over 60 people, including polygraph tests. So I think everybody that was, the parents, the mum and the stepfather have all passed their polygraph tests. Oh, thank you, Sheep Famine. Yeah, I did do a video about that yesterday. Thank you so much for the super chat. I did do a video about that yesterday. Let me put my thank you up, say thank you. Maybe you missed it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to put the link in to the video that I did yesterday about it. You must have missed it. I don't know what channel you're subscribed on, Sheep Farm, and you may be subscribed on the Spanish and English channel, which I didn't upload the shortened video about it. I talked about it in the live yesterday. Let's have a look. But I did just post the individual video. Yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. And yeah, but thank you. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did pass away. He did. This was the video that I did about it. Ah, you subscribed on this channel. Yeah, I did do. I did talk about it, but yeah, it's very sad actually, and not sad about him dying, of course, but that Peter Falconion's body has still not been found. He had cancer, didn't he? Throat cancer. So, but thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go back to Lily and Jack. So yes, they said that they are requesting judicial authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that can help in the investigation. Well, 2 months on is a little bit, 2 months later? Anyway, you can't, they're just proceeding with their investigation. We won't get to know everything that's happening. But they have said now that they're performing forensic examinations on materials found in the search areas, including a pink blanket found near the home on Lansdowne Road. And it was confirmed by the family to belong to the children, or specifically to belong to Lily. A tremendous amount of careful, deliberate investigative work is underway by people here at home and in other parts of Canada, said McCammon, who is the detective, when asked in a press conference if the case lacked urgency. That's what I'm saying. 2 months later, a concern expressed by police people close to the investigation. Spokesperson Corporal Carly McCann told reporters that an RCMP family liaison is in regular contact with a designated relative of Lily and Jack. They're assisted in the investigation by units in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick and Ontario, as well as the National Centre of Missing Persons, the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, and the provincial and municipal police agencies from Nova Scotia and other parts of Canada. And yes, obviously, if you know if anybody's watching who knows anything, they need to contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers or the RCMP Major Crime Unit, and the phone number is on sort of any article that you Google about it. But yeah, bless them. I mean, where are they? I mean, you do feel that they have, come to harm one way or another. Hi Moonbeam, hi Skits. Exactly, Moonbeam. Why have they left it 2 months to do all this? It just seems like they're saying lack urgency. Are they not thinking? Are they not thinking it is urgent? Of course, then there was those rumours by that horrible YouTube channel that I've just then I realised who he was. That Joseph Morris saying, that man that supposedly knows the family said that the children had been taken by the mother, and they were fine, taken away by the mother. But, none of that has been proven, of course. So, I don't know. I just don't know. It's 2 months, to suddenly now be doing these forensic tests. Shouldn't they have been doing that? I'm sure they have been doing it, have they? It's like, let's see if I can find the actual. I don't think I could find the actual press conference. But nothing could be more vulnerable, could it? Nothing could be more vulnerable than 2 little kids, like that, disappearing into the woodland. What could be more important than that, really? 2 children aged 6 and 4 disappearing into the woodland. I can't find any press conference here, but anyway, that is basically the update for what it is. It's not a great update, is it, really? But at the end of the day, at least the police are saying, they are doing something. You can't help but have a bad feeling. You want to feel hope for these kids. You want to feel hope. My best hope. I hope the mum has taken them away somewhere or got someone to take them away somewhere. I really hope they have. Because the alternative is they've either been kidnapped by somebody else, some harms come to them because of their parents, or someone who knows their parents, or someone who knows them, or somebody who was just passing by, maybe saw them playing. So these are the worst case scenarios. So the best case scenario, or that they've got lost in the woods and been attacked by an animal, or got scared and hidden, and then they've died. Because they would, no offense, but they would if they were in that expanse of wilderness or woods or whatever. And there's water there as well. Did they fall into the water? These are not good case scenarios for 2 months later. They're not going to, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old are not going to survive out in the elements for 2 months. So, unfortunately, the best case scenarios that they've been kidnapped, really, the best case scenario by a family member, not by someone intending ill harm to them. But the more I've been looking into a case that I'm going to cover in some depth shortly, because it's a 10-year anniversary. Another child who went missing from a campsite and, just disappeared and has never been found. And suspicion fell on the parents, as of course it always does, but also other people that were at the campground. And 10 years later, it hasn't been solved. It'd be scary to sort of think of a Lily and Jack becoming a 10 years later not being solved case. It's awful to think about. I don't think there was an Amber Alert. I really don't think there was. Let's see if I can find out. See what... Sometimes Wikipedia is good for a good... So they were reported missing on May the 2nd. I can't see... Like, they're saying there's no evidence of abduction. What does Wikipedia say? I don't think there was an Amber Alert. There's a reward of $150,000 for any information that is deemed to be of investigative value. That's a big reward, isn't it? Money can make people talk, especially there is talk that there's some drug sort of involvement with the parents. Again, a lot of it is rumour. I don't know if that's true or not. But people in that sort of environment, $150,000 would be a big incentive to talk. That's being offered by the government of Nova Scotia. So don't forget, they hadn't been at school. They were kept home from school on Thursday, May the 1st and Friday, May the 2nd, because Lily had a cough. And then they didn't go to school on the Wednesday, April the 30th, but that day there was no school. So they hadn't gone to school that day because there was no school. It was a development day for teachers. And the last time they were seen in public with all the family is on CCTV on May the 1st, the day before their disappearance. But from what I can see, there was no... why was there not an Amber Alert, I wonder? Yeah. No. So no Amber Alert. The police are not saying that. They are saying there's no evidence of an abduction. But the thing is, if the parents did do something to them, they've still had to dispose of them somewhere. So there's got to be some sort of data, either CCTV or phone data, to show them going places to get rid of the bodies, if that's what they did. But there is no evidence of that, and apparently they've passed a lie detector test. But of course, a lie detector test does not mean everything, does it? Quite often people pass lie detector tests who are lying. So, very strange. You're welcome, Skits. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that little update. We will follow this case, and it's very rare that anything comes out about it. We want a good result. You never know, we may still get a good result. We have to keep hoping, don't we, that these two little ones, maybe they have been abducted by the mother. I hope they have. I hope the mum has had something to do with abducting them. But why would she do it? Then you've got to think, why would the mother do that? Take them off somewhere else, maybe to keep them safe from the stepfather. But why pretend that they've gone missing? You got to think there's no real justification for that, is there? Or no real reason why she should do that. But of course, people don't always need a reason, do they? At the end of the day, people don't always need a reason. So going from talking about two little angels to talking about an absolute twonk, a real horrible person, psycho number one. The more I look into this case of the Idaho 4, the more you see that the person who's responsible for killing these 4 people in Idaho. I don't know what's happening in Idaho. There seems to be a lot of things go on there. Don't think I want to live in Idaho. I seem to have gone to Idaho for a lot of cases. Yeah, these 4 lovely young people just living their lives, young people, you know, just having fun like young people should do. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Morgan, Zana Canodal and Ethan Chapin. So they were all killed on one night of absolute horror. They all lived together in like a student house, didn't they? And one night evil came calling in the form of Bryan Kohberger. Have I got a picture of him? I suppose I should put a picture of him up. I mean, he is like, talk about evil looking person. Let me just find a picture of him. I'm sure you've all seen a picture of him. Now, Bryan Kohberger, of course, he's got his fan base of the Bryan Kohberger Fruit Loops, who thought he was innocent. God, I thought I had a picture of him somewhere. I've no idea where the pictures are of him. A lot of people, all these Fruit Loops, thinking he was innocent. Oh, there he is. There he is. He was innocent. So he took this picture, didn't he? Just after he'd murdered all those 4, and I don't even have to say allegedly now, because he has confessed. He has pled guilty to killing those 4 young people. And just after he killed them, he took this selfie. Honestly, this picture is the creepiest picture. He's got his thumbs up. He's as pale as a ghost, isn't he, with his bushy eyebrows, and he emanates evil, this man, to me. His eyes are a psychopath's eyes. He's just creepier than creepier. The most, you know, and those poor people. I mean, he had a balaclava on, which would have been even more terrifying, I suppose. But I don't know what would be more terrifying, actually seeing this guy's face. Let's have a look at some other pictures of him, because he's a true, you know, he's one of those. And of course, he was a criminology student. A criminology student. Couldn't make it up, could you? And yeah, still got all his fans. Let's have a look at these pictures of him. What a weirdo. Total weirdo. Anyway, he's pled guilty. He's pled guilty now. Now, every photo you look at of him, look, he's just so scary. And you know, his defense, yeah, he's just like, Ted Bundy was his hero, and he thinks he's Ted Bundy. But of course, he didn't go on for it. You know, Ted Bundy was in that age of, golden age of serial killers, if you like, before forensic evidence and stuff. And so he unfortunately got away with a lot more murders than Bryan Kohberger did. But he was his hero. It's the eyes, isn't it? Look at the eyes. Oh my God. This picture always gets to me. And his defense lawyer, who will have known right from the beginning that he was guilty of murdering these young people, you know, they were going to try, their defense case was really just trying to claim that other people had done it. She was always laughing and joking with him. I don't know how she could even sit with him. I mean, look at his eyes there looking at her, knowing what he'd done to those 4 young people. I cannot bear these defense lawyers. I honestly can't. I know everyone's entitled to a defense, but, you know, just... Anyway, at the end of the day, he has admitted what he's done. Thankfully, again, at least he's spared. the family. I think the families, because of course you talk about 4 different families here, because 4 different victims. I think there was sort of mixed feelings originally, like they want him, because he's not pled guilty to save the family's feelings. He's pled guilty because he's frightened of the death penalty. So all the things he was claiming didn't work, did they? He said he was autistic. He was going to use the autistic defence. That didn't seem to work out for him. Then I think they were going to try and cast aspersions on other people that might possibly have done it, cast doubt on the evidence, etc. Anyway, that didn't work, did it? So I think finally he's realised that he's going for he's heading for the electric chair or lethal injection or whatever, and he's got no chance of getting off with it. So that's why he's pled guilty, so that he doesn't get the electric chair, not because he wants to save these families' feelings. He's a truly evil man, this real true psychopath. Just pose for that picture with his thumb up, smiling. He looks sort of sated, doesn't he? Anyway, so of course a lot of people are thinking, what was the motive? You don't need a motive, do you? I mean, a psycho like that doesn't need a motive, but it is thought that maybe he was aiming for one of those girls and the others were just almost collateral damage. But, it's not been, maybe that will come out at his sentencing, or maybe it will come out soon. So as I say, the families have had mixed feelings. Some families, I think, are glad they've not got to go through a trial. And then I think others of them are angry that he's going to escape the death penalty. That's, it's not for me to comment on that, because they're the ones going through hell. I mean, this is a case to most of us. We're talking about discussing it, but these poor families, they're waking up every morning dealing with the reality of what's happened to their young person. And that they're never going to get them back again. Whether Bryan Kohberger gets a death penalty or not won't bring them back. It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, the news, a bit of an update about this, is that the gag order has been lifted. So there was a gag order on this case, and the judge has lifted it. Having said that, there are still quite a lot of things that are still sealed. And the things that are sealed are going to remain sealed. So let's just have a look.
Welcome into Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do want to continue on in bringing you some of this breaking news that just came into our newsroom. It's a story that we've been following from the very beginning. I want to showcase this tweet that we have from Fox News. This just breaking, though. A judge has ultimately lifted Bryan Kohberger's case gag order, but does say that those sealed documents in that quadruple murder case will remain sealed. So, of course, we know that we were watching and waiting for this news to come out. This is the man, though, Bryan Kohberger, who that Idaho judge has now lifted that sweeping gag order.
God, I mean, he truly is chilling, isn't he? Quite often people do look like, quite often there are people who don't look like what they are, don't they? We've looked at cases where it could be the person living next door to you. You would never suspect anything. But I think there's something about this guy. I think he gives you chills just to look at him. And, again, I've heard rumours about his family. There's something strange about his family. There's thoughts that maybe his parents knew and were covering up for him. So that's maybe something I'll look at in a different video. But, because you always feel sorry for families, don't you? Because you think, even the families of the perpetrators, you think, well, they haven't done anything and they get all this. But there is a lot of talk that maybe Bryan's mum and dad knew something about this, that he confessed to them. So maybe But I need to look into that more deeply, though. I haven't looked into it deeply enough to really comment on it yet.
In his quadruple murder case, ultimately, we know that Kohberger has avoided the potential death sentence by pleading guilty earlier this month to the brutal stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students that happened at a rental home near campus back in 2022. Prosecutors, though, say that he spent months carefully planning this attack, and that his studies as a criminal justice graduate student at Washington State University.
No, and I think he's enjoying this. I've watched him. He's got no emotions whatsoever. He's a bit like Erin, Erin Patterson. I felt like she was sort of enjoying it. She was interested in crime. It's like, when I say enjoying it, she probably wasn't expecting to get found guilty. But he sort of sat there, he's sort of enjoying the whole event, all the attention. He'll be getting fan letters from these Fruit Loops that write to these psychopaths. He'd just be loving it. And then that bloody defence lawyer, she looks like she's loving it as well. She can't stop smiling. She's laughing and joking with him. You just think, for fuck's sake, have a bit of thought for these families, what they're going through. Don't make it look so enjoyable, for God's sake. Sorry, I could feel myself going on a rant there. Thank you, Joanne. That's very kind. Oh, you're right, so kind. Thank you. Let me play my thank you thing. Yeah, I nearly didn't see that because I was just about going on a rant about these people enjoying these cases. It's not entertainment. It's like, is she, because it's a high profile case, is she like, oh, I'm defending Bryan Kohberger, just for fuck's sake. Who would want to defend him? Who would want to defend him? You can't defend the indefensible, in my opinion. Thank you, Joanne. That's very kind. Just horrible people. Yeah, I think they do like the limelight. I do think they do. It's like, well, you know me, as I say, I could not be a defence lawyer. Just couldn't do it with hand on heart, knowing that he killed these young people and the misery. It's not only the misery he's put his victims through. These are the victims, and the terror and the pain and how scared they must have been. But it's not only them, is it? It's not only them. It's all the ripples that go out from it. The families, siblings, friends, cousins, parents. It never ends. And it is a life sentence for them. They've already had their life sentence. We've got to wait for his sentencing. I think it might be even next week, but it won't be long. We'll find out what his sentencing will be, which will be life without parole. I mean, can't be anything else really, can it? But they've already had their sentence. The night that he murdered all these 4 people, those families and friends were sentenced. And I bet the only good thing, it's not even a good thing really, but they'll get a chance to read their victim impact statements, and they'll be able to look him in the face and tell him what they really think of him. And that'll be something. Won't be much though, will it really, at the end of the day? But it's something. What a twonk.
Ultimately helped him to take the steps to cover up his tracks. Kohberger, though, did admit to breaking into that rental home through a sliding door, killing the 4 friends who had no connection with him. And so this has been a story that has captured national attention as well. But today we know that judge in Moscow, Idaho, issued a sweeping gag order early on in the case, barring those prosecutors, but today deciding to lift it. Defense attorneys.
Yeah, and remember they pulled this house down, didn't they? Which was strange. I mean, now he's pled guilty, it doesn't matter so much. But very odd that I think before he was tried and sentenced, they should not have demolished that house because they might have needed You know, I'm sure they took, you know, I don't know, videos and things, because the jury, if it would have come to a jury, the jury would have wanted to see the layout of the house and everything. But yeah, it's very surprising when they demolished it, really. But anyway, doesn't matter now because he's pled guilty. That's the one good thing that he's done.
And other officials involved in that investigation from talking to reporters or others on anything, but not all that has not already been included in those public court documents. Ultimately, though, a coalition of news organizations, including the Associated Press and others, asked the judge to lift that gag order, but he refused, saying that additional publicity could harm Kohberger's right to a fair trial. However, that gag order was lifted on Thursday. So I wanted to bring you this update here on Live Now from Fox. We're continue to follow this case as Bryan Kohberger is expected to be sentenced next week. But the biggest news, again, you can see it here from Fox News tweeting this out on their X account, that the breaking news is that the judge has officially lifted that case gag order, but does say that those sealed documents in the quadruple murder case will remain sealed at this time.
So now, I don't know what the sealed documents are, you know, but it'd be interesting to see that now the gag order's been lifted, what comes out, or will not really much come out until the actual sealed documents are unsealed, which will probably be after the sentencing, won't it? But anyway, interesting that the gag order's been lifted. There's no reason for a gag order now anyway, because he's pled guilty.
Anything changes with this, we'll certainly bring it to you here on Live Now from Fox.
So yeah, I mean, I'm going to definitely look more into his mum and dad and the family, because I say it's thought that maybe they knew what he'd done, maybe confessed to them. And you know, we've heard this quite a lot, haven't we? If my son phoned me or came to see me and said, look, I've just murdered 4 people, the last thing I'd be doing is trying to cover up for him. Now, I would still love him and I would still go and see him, and I'd just have to get over the fact of the terrible thing he'd done. He'd still be my son. But I would be taking him to the police station. Well, you know, I'd be struggling to pick him up and put him in the car because he's 6'5". But do you know what I mean? I would be encouraged. I wouldn't be covering up for him. If he said to me, oh, can you hide this for me because blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's different if they come to you and say something, can you give me an alibi? And they might make up a reason for it. You know, like, I don't know. They might say, oh, I don't want this girl to know that I went out with this other girl. If she asks you where I was, can you say I was with you? That's different. Though I don't think I would even do that, to be honest. I don't like lies. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. I'm just using that as an example. But if he's asking you to give an alibi because actually really he was away, you know, murdering 4 people and, you know, making, not only murdering them, but destroying their families' lives forever. Like, no. I just can't imagine this conversation in my head that these people have. You know, I've seen it so many times with people confessing to their family or friends, and their friends covering up for them. And you just imagine the phone call. It's like, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, well, I'm not too good because I've just murdered 4 people. But can you give me an alibi? Or can you come and help me just, you know, clean up? Or can you come and help me dismantle? I mean, with Lindsay Quay, poor Lindsay Quay, her husband Mitchell killed her and phoned his brother, Elliot, who was a butcher, and asked him to come over and help him dismember her remains and distribute them all over Southport. Just what? And that brother is out now, free. Just terrible. He should have got the same life sentence to me, because he may not have killed Lindsay, but the fact that he covered it up and made Lindsay's parents suffer. And in fact, Lindsay's brother actually unalived himself because he couldn't cope with what had happened to Lindsay. So these people that cooperate with killers, you know, and try and cover up for them, And it shouldn't pervert in the course of justice. It should be a stronger sentence. It should be a life sentence in these cases, because it's just terrible. It's almost even worse because Mitchell killed Lindsay in a fit of, I don't know, jealous rage, or because she was leaving him, and and I'm not exonerating that, but at least it was in a moment, not somebody coldly being told, getting every opportunity to go to the police and tell them and saying, oh yeah, I'll come and help you chop her up, like foul people, terrible people. Hey, Bluebell. Oh, yeah. No, you're thinking of Scott Peterson, Bluebell. That was Scott Peterson. Yeah, she's his sister. Scott Peterson killed his wife, Lacey Peterson. There's a good documentary on Netflix about it, as there is. Netflix is right on with these documentaries. But yeah, Scott Peterson, his parents, he was a spoilt brat, wasn't he? Total spoilt brat. And when Lacey was 9 months pregnant, wasn't she? She was just about to give birth. In fact, she gave birth. I mean, this is horrible, but he dumped her in a lake, or he took his boat, he did like a Dexter style disposal of her body, took her out to on his boat around about Christmas time, dumped her body in the lake. And then there's a strange thing that happens to deceased pregnant women when she actually gave birth to the baby. And so the baby's body was found first, and then Lacey's body was found afterwards. And his parents still won't have it. And his sister, as you say, Bluebell, Scott Peterson's sister, went on to study law so that she could help him appeal. He's still appealing now, 20 years later. Just recently he was appealing, and he actually recently was attacked in prison. Good. Hope he gets attacked again. He's the worst of the worst, because he was one of those that had a silver spoon in his mouth. He was given all the privileges, doting parents. He was no financial problems, nothing. He didn't want a baby, because a baby would have taken the attention off him. He's a typical narcissist, psychopath. He just wanted all the attention on him, and he's a bit like Chris Watson that way, because he'd also met another woman, Amber, who was a massage therapist, and he'd fallen in love with her. He told her he was divorced. Oh no, he told her he was widowed, I think. But it's only when she saw him on the TV, this poor woman, that he was having an affair. She didn't think she was having an affair. She thought he was her only, she thought he was a widow. But he told her he was a widow before Lacey was even dead. But then afterwards, she saw him on the TV, because he didn't want to be seen on the TV. They noticed that at the time when they were making appeals to find Lacey. He would always avoid the cameras because he didn't want to be on the TV, because he knew that Amber would see him when it got like really big news. And that's exactly what happened. So Amber went straight to the police. And, she had to live under a suspicion, but she had nothing to do with it. She didn't even know about Lacey. And she certainly didn't know that Lacey, that he had a pregnant wife. Anyway, so he was found guilty, but yeah, his sister, as you say, still thinks he's innocent. It's like, it's like, what's wrong with these people? Fruit Loops. And yes, she went back to college to study law so she could help to get him off. He won't ever get off. And he did a runner, didn't he? He did a runner. He dyed his hair blonde. He was on the way to Mexico when he was finally arrested. He was so guilty, it was untrue, but his sister and his family, he's the golden boy, golden balls. You know, he couldn't do anything like that. You know, it's that terrible Lacey. You know, something, she must have done something wrong. She must have killed herself and thrown herself in the water or something. But anyway. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He told his wife, his girlfriend, he phoned her from Lacey's vigil and said he was in Paris. Was it New Year or something like that? I think it was New Year. And he said he was in Paris for New Year and actually was at his own wife's vigil then, Lacey's vigil for her death. He's a horrible man. Real twonk, another twonk. Lacey, his wife was called Lacey. Okay, now I'm just going to go and get a drink. I'll be back in a sec. So that's the latest story about the psychopath, Bryan Kohberger. And now we're going to have a little bit of good news because we're going to talk about Hannah Maguire, who's a case that we've been looking at. And this is a case of this beautiful girl, Hannah Maguire, from Ballarat in Australia. So this case, remember, with Samantha Murphy, which has all gone quiet, hasn't it? The Samantha Murphy case again. They expect it'll liven up when the court case comes up, but it's not till next year. But, you know, no sign of finding a body yet. But around that time, in those first 3 months of the year at Ballarat, 3 women were killed. One of which was Samantha Murphy. Another one was Hannah Maguire, who was killed by her boyfriend. And let's have a look at him. I suppose, you know, talk about, you know, I just don't know what she saw. To me, with Hannah, I think Hannah met him when she was young and she got involved with him. And then she outgrew him. And then he wasn't taking that lying down, was he? Like, you don't leave me. You know, even though you can just tell by looking at him. I'm sorry, but you can tell by looking at him he's a twonk. You know, and she didn't want to be with him anymore. She outgrew him. She decided she probably found it attractive. He was a bit of a bad boy when she was 18, 19, like girls do. And then when she got into her 20s and her life started to take off. She started studying. You know, she had a bright future. He had no future because he was still the same waster that he was maybe when he was 16, 17, 18. He never grew up. Hannah grew up and she didn't want to be with him anymore. But he wasn't having that. No, he wasn't having that. So I'm just going to leave you briefly with this beautiful picture of Hannah. I'm just going to get a drink and have a quick bathroom break. Usual 9 seconds. I'll be back in a sec. Actually, no, I'm going to leave you with her picture, not the be right back. I've got smaller ones. There you go. Oh, no, I can't put them both on at the same time. I haven't quite worked that out. So this is Hannah. And very sadly, Hannah's been taken again from this world, from her family. The world needs people like Hannah, not like that idiot. Right, I'm back. Actually, I decided I didn't need a bathroom break, so I just got some ice and another drink, and that's it. So, yeah, poor Hannah. Anyway, originally, as I say, he said he admitted he'd killed her, but he said it was an accident. But then, after that accident, of course, he took her body out in the car, set fire to the car with the body, and then also texted her mum and tried to make it look like she'd taken her own life. So you can imagine, I don't expect that went down very well with the jury, you know, when he was saying, oh yeah, it was an accident. Anyway, apparently he caused a big stir in court, because court case is going on at the moment, and he's changed his plea dramatically. And well, do you know what, if there's one good, I mean, he won't have done it, as I said, I doubt very much he'll have done it for her or her family. He'll have done it for him, perhaps because he's realised he's not getting away, nobody's believing him anyway. Maybe he's hoping he'll get lesser sentence because he's changed his plea, and possibly he will. But let's have a look at, I've just put some windows down and we'll have a look. So yeah, it was really quite dramatic, this. Apparently in the courtroom, people started clapping. And you know, it will be a relief for the families, because you know, to have to go through, you know, they'd have to look at photos, you know, it'd just be awful what the family would have to go through, and for him to plead guilty is a good thing. Let me just change this picture up here as well. Actually, it is a good thing. I mean, it would have been a better thing if he would never have killed her, of course, in the first place, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'm trying to change the little picture up at the top. There she is. Yeah, would have been better if he just would never have killed her in the first place. But, of course, you know, we can't turn back time, unfortunately. But at least he's admitting to it, and that will make a big difference. Let's have a look. So we're going to have a look at a couple of videos about it.
Good afternoon. First at 4, Hannah Maguire's killer has confessed to her murder in a shock court admission in Ballarat. Applause rang out in the courtroom as Lachlan Young finally pleaded guilty to her murder. Bethan Yeoman has this report.
There were very emotional scenes at the Ballarat Supreme Court this morning as Lachlan Young pleaded guilty to the murder of Hannah Maguire from Huron Clunes 8 days into his criminal trial. The hearing was all over in 6 minutes, the courtroom erupting in applause as Hannah's parents, Debbie and Glenn, embraced, earlier wiping away tears as the 23-year-old changed his plea. Their 23-year-old daughter's badly burnt body was found in a torch car in bushland outside of Ballarat just hours after she was murdered on April 5 last year. Young previously admitting to staging her death to make it look like a suicide, but only pleading guilty to manslaughter, claiming it was not planned.
When you get powerful, damning and harsh facts, then certainly the defence strategy has to be changed, and that's exactly what happened in this case.
Over the past 8 days, multiple serious allegations were aired in court, including that Young used Hannah's phone to text her mother after he killed her. The court also heard Young had told a colleague he planned to drug his former girlfriend and crash a car with her unconscious behind the wheel.
Oh, look at him laughing. Oh, yeah, ha, ha, ha. It's hilarious. So this is his mate. We're going to have a look at something about him in a moment. He seems to be loving it. So he knew what this twonk was going to do to Hannah. He told him he was going to drug her and, you know, do something to her. And he did not go to the police. And look at him. He thinks it's funny. He's laughing, hiding his face. Is it funny then? God, it just makes me so angry. These twonks, these absolute pieces of shit. You know, no wonder she wanted to leave him. The thing is, they've not grown up, have they? They're still acting like 16-year-olds. You know, in fact, most 16-year-olds wouldn't think about drugging their girlfriend, etc. But anyway, they're just jocks, aren't they? They're like just, I don't know what they are. They're honest to God, they're not fit to. I wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire. They just make me so angry. It's like Hannah's life didn't mean anything, and to him either. He should get a prison sentence for being told that someone was in danger and not going to the police about it. Hannah could still be alive. God.
Just days before her murder, Hannah's parents today relieved, telling 7 News no other result would have been fitting. Young will now await sentencing. The case will return to court next Friday.
Gosh. So let's have a look at, I've got a little, so this is a friend, he's a friend of the killer. I'm not even going to mention his name. He says he had no idea. Let's see. No idea she was in, so he then helped him with the car, but he says he didn't know that Hannah was inside it. Arse.
Of the man on trial for the murder of Ballarat woman Hannah Maguire has revealed he was paid $45 to help her killer dump her ute. But the key with
$45 he was paid. And he says he didn't know she was in it. That he just thought, that dickhead friend of his had just said to him, oh, will you help me dump this car? Well, why? What was he doing dumping a car that was hers anyway? Is it whether he knew she was in it or not? It wasn't the dickhead's car. It was her car, and he knew it was her car. So he should be facing charges, in my opinion. Anyway, he'll get his karma.
Witness claims he had no idea Miss Maguire's body was inside the burning vehicle.
Benjamin O'Keefe drove in convoy behind Lachlan Young before watching his mate set his ex-partner's car on fire in bushland. But he insists he didn't know Hannah Maguire was dead or that her body was inside the burning vehicle.
Doesn't matter whether whether he knew she was in there or not. It was her car. So, just imagine your friend coming to you and saying, oh, will you help me? Because that dickhead, he couldn't be bothered walking back from where he was going to dump the car. So he wanted him to follow in the car so he could have a lift back because he's a lazy shit and he wouldn't walk back from it, would he? But he knew it was Hannah's car. Whether he knew Hannah was in it or not, he probably did. Don't forget, this guy had said to him he was going to drug Hannah and do something to her. So he probably did know that Hannah was in the car. But whether he knew Hannah was in the car or not, it wasn't the dickhead's car. It was Hannah's car. So if my friend turns up at my door and says, oh, I'm just going to go and set fire to my husband's car, whether I know the husband's in there or not, I'm just going to set fire to my husband's car. Will you come and drive behind me and bring me home after? And I'm going to go, oh, yeah, of course you were. Of course I am. I mean, they weren't even husband and wife. They had, independent cars. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. I can't even believe that I'm having to discuss it. This guy, he's just as bad as dickhead. He's just as bad. Hope he's facing some charges. And I hope he faces some karma. And I think if I was Hannah's parents, if I was Hannah's mum, I tell you, you'd have to watch out for me. You'd have to be looking behind him. That's for sure. Because I would be fuming at him. And I wouldn't let him get away with it. I would face him and have my say.
Today, Mr. O'Keefe was questioned as a key witness in his...
Hello, he's laughing. Doesn't, oh my God, I hope somebody sorts him out. Honestly, I do. I'm not recommending violence, but but I hope one way or another he gets made to see what he's dickhead too, isn't he? We've got number one dickhead, his mate, and now he's number two dickhead.
His friend's murder trial about the day he learned the young teacher was dead. Upon hearing about the death of Hannah Maguire, what did you do? I called Lockie. I was worried that I was implicated in her murder. Mr. O'Keefe gave evidence he confronted.
So, first thing he does, he calls his friend, doesn't call the police. Doesn't call the police. No, I called Lockie. Idiot. Honest to God, he's a thicko. No wonder she left that other guy, that dickhead number one. She'd outgrown him so much. And unfortunately, he just wasn't going to let her go. And this guy, he supported it.
Mr. Young in person, saying Hannah better not have been in that car. Then telling the court he said she was already deceased. She was suffocated. Mr. Young, Ms. Maguire's former partner, is accused of murdering her but has pleaded not guilty, arguing that while he killed the 23-year-old, he did not do so with murderous intent.
What?
The jury also heard Mr. Young previously told his mate he wanted to drug his ex-partner before putting her body in a car and rolling it down a hill. Mr. O'Keefe was then quizzed about why he still didn't suspect Ms. Maguire may be...
Oh, when someone says that to you, don't you go straight to the police? You think of somebody you knew who said to you, not only, look, people talk about their ex-partners and they say, oh, I hate them or this, that or the other. When someone actually says to you they're going to drug them, put them in their car and roll them down a hill, you go straight to the police, don't you? That's what you should be doing. Gosh, I think he might find that somebody's waiting for him one night in a dark alley.
In the car that he saw being set alight. So even though 2 days before there's this conversation about scaring Ms. Maguire, it didn't even enter your mind that she might be in that vehicle? Yes. Estelle Greepink, 7 News.
Date of it. Gosh. Just makes me so mad. That didn't even think of that girl or her parents, Awful. Anyway, it is good news that dickhead has changed his plea. He's pled guilty. It's just a question now. I'll be interested to see what the sentencing is. Very interested, same as with Erin Patterson, another Patterson. Because I don't know much about Australian sentencing. Oh, I'm just going to play this actually. I forgot I had this. This is an audio one that I wanted to play.
A Victorian courtroom has erupted after a man accused of killing Hannah Maguire changed his plea to guilty midway through the trial. Lachlan Young had initially pleaded not guilty to murdering his ex-partner, whose body was found dumped in a burnt-out car in bushland. The packed courtroom cheered after the 23-year-old was taken from the courtroom following his guilty plea. Reporter Julia Bergen was in the Ballarat courtroom for that moment, and a warning: this report contains details some might find distressing. Julia, just take us through the details of this case.
So until today, Lachlan Young had admitted to killing Miss Maguire in April last year and dumping her body in bushland, but he denied that he did so with murderous intent. So he'd offered to plead guilty to a manslaughter, but this was rejected by the prosecution on day one of the trial. And obviously everything has changed today. So it's day 8 and we head in this morning, and Lachlan Young was rearraigned and has actually pled guilty to the murder of his ex-partner, Hannah Maguire. So in front of a jury, it was a packed courtroom, and in front of a jury, he was asked whether he did indeed murder Miss Maguire and was asked how he pled, and he said guilty. So if we look back over the past 8 days of what we've heard in this case, the evidence has been incredibly damning. From the get-go, there was no dispute over the facts that Young caused Miss Maguire's death, that Miss Maguire was killed at the home that her and Young shared, that Young then placed her dead body in the footwell of a car, drove her out to State Forest, and throughout the case, Young has been arguing that he was present while the car was ignited and Miss Maguire was incinerated. The prosecution has argued that it was him who indeed torched that car, and now that he's pled guilty, that is in fact what's happened. So the defence's case was hinging entirely on murderous intent, and they tried to offer a different version of events, which we heard yesterday in court, and they were basically trying to pin it on the man, Benjamin O'Keefe, who unwittingly helped Miss Young dispose of the car. O'Keefe said he had no idea that Miss Maguire's body was in the car at the time. So the defence basically said that Miss Maguire died when she hit her head against a bathroom sink during an argument with Mr Young. They then...
Yeah, that's what you originally said. She hit her head on the bathroom sink. God.
Alleged that Mr O'Keefe saw Miss Maguire's body inside the house and discussed with him how to dispose of the body, came up with a plan and suggested that Mr Young burn the car and torched it himself. And all of this was rejected by O'Keefe, and as I said today, that has now been confirmed because Young has pled guilty.
What was that moment like in the courtroom when he entered a guilty plea?
Yeah, it was, I mean, the court was incredibly still and incredibly packed. It hasn't been like that all week. There's been quite a lot of people coming in and out of court, but today there was people standing right up to the edges. But when that jury was brought in today and Mr Young was asked how he wanted to plead and he said guilty, the court breathed a sigh of relief. He was then taken out and it erupted into cheers. So there was a lot of tears, a lot of hugs, and coming out of the courtroom, everyone was clearly relieved.
Reporter Julia Bergen in Ballarat. And if you're in an abusive situation or know someone who is, call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732. And if it's an emergency, call 000.
So, yeah, a little bit of good news, I suppose, to finish on. Just good news that he's saved the family the torment of carrying on with the trial. And he's pled guilty, and let's hope he gets a really big sentence. So, okay, that's the 3 cases I wanted to talk about with you this morning. Lily and Jack Sullivan, Bryan Kohberger and the gag order being lifted, and then, of course, Hannah Maguire's murderer pleading guilty. So I'm going to say a little prayer for all those people, the Lily and Jack, of course, though we don't know what's happened to Lily and Jack yet. Of course, of all 4 victims of Bryan Kohberger, Kaylee, Madison, Zana and Ethan. He's pled guilty again. We're waiting his sentence. And the same with Hannah's killer, her own partner. Just awful, isn't it, to think that you could be so cruel to someone that once you loved, that you cared about, if he ever did. I mean, he's a bit of a tosser, isn't he? So maybe he didn't really care about her as much as he cared about himself, eh? So anyway, I'm going to go and, I don't know, have a cold shower, I think. It is so hot. It's now 30 degrees. It's horrible. I'm going to have a salad. And then I'm going to have a nap, probably. I just spend all my time either in the shower or sleeping. It's just like too hot. It's too hot. It's too hot. All your makeup ends up sliding down your face. It's like, starts off all nice and then it ends up all down here. Okay, so listen, thank you for caring about all these people that we've talked about. Yeah, and I will let you know, of course. Sorry, I was trying to take that off. I'll let you know any news that I get about any of those cases or any other case that we're following. And yeah, we'll look forward to the sentencing of Erin Patterson, the Mushroom Queen. The sentencing of Bryan. But we've had quite a bit of justice this year, I think. So, let's hope that we get a similar amount in the sentencing, because that's important, isn't it? So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video, as always. I want to say, oh, hang on, I'm back in the room. Just a special thank you as well. Thank you to Sheep Farmer, sent a super sticker, thank you. And Joanne, who also sent a super sticker, thank you so much. But thank you to all of you for watching, liking, subscribing. Where's my banner to put on as I finish off? Put my little, got all these banners to put up. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. Thank you so much. Till I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye.